This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah, only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it. Welcome in. Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, South Carolina. Great to be with you again. I am Rob Brown. Back in the ESPN studios. The man in charge of buttons, switches, levers, gears, pulleys, and other required apparatus to get us rolling on the show. The great one, Dad Kicks, Colonel Grudge, the Alpha and the Omega of ESPN Upstate, the conductor of the Symphony of Sound, the content cash cow. He is Lonzo. What up, Zoe?
Do they make office tents?
Office tents?
Yes.
Like a tent is also an office?
No, a tent that you can put in your office. Wonder how much those tents that go in the back of a pickup truck cost?
I mean, by definition, any tent is an office tent if you're committed to the idea.
It's in the office. You're right. I'm about to purchase one.
Are you just living in the studio for a while?
Well, no. It's just it's cold in there, and I'm trying to figure out an apparatus that I can buy that will divert the air away from my hands and other parts of myself. Where it's my hands still aren't warm yet, so I'm trying to figure out. Let's face it, whatever I put in there, they'll look in the office and go, "Hey, it's just Lonzo." So
they make, and I don't know if you've heard of these. They make little tiny tents, and they're made just for your hands, called gloves.
But you can't use a keyboard when you have those on.
Yeah, and then they make.
Unless I get some isotoners, maybe.
They make other smaller, like larger than that tents for your body. They're called jackets.
Yeah, which you can see I'm wearing one now. But I'm thinking about, and I say I'm never going to be that guy that complains about things on the air. So no, but I'm not complaining. What I'm doing is I'm throwing this out to the listeners if they have any ideas of something that I could possibly do, because I don't want to burden anybody else with this. This is my problem. I'm in there by myself right now, but it is affecting my creative process to a degree. And, I just want to be warm. I'm not going to build a fire or anything like that. But I think maybe an office tent, or I was also thinking about maybe getting a Snuggie.
As the proud owner of a Snuggie, I will tell you, people can hate on the Snuggie till they get one and recognize how life-changing it is to have a blanket with sleeves.
By the way, I have some breaking news.
Okay. Let's go.
The breaking news is that we have a breaking news sounder.
Breaking news sounder.
Yeah, there it is.
Now I need news to break at some point today.
Yeah. Well, so I think that might capture your attention if I play that.
Yeah, that'll be way better than way better than we have breaking news. Instead of, yeah.
Look at that. Just he was starting to talk and he just automatically stopped. So shout out to Keegan who suggested that. That was a good idea, but I had to find the right glass sound, and it took me a while.
I feel like that was it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news on the show. See, he wasn't ready for that one.
Well, there's some other things I need to fix. Well, it's because my hands are cold and they just don't move as quick.
Problem. Breaking news. Lonzo's hands are cold, and I don't know how he's going to get through the day. We have news that is not breaking, but yet is important. It is the top 3 stories of the day, and we go with that right now.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys are here.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here? Lunch!
So let's break down 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworkers, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. Here are the conversations that you are likely to be having from around the sports world. We start with item number 1, and to the world of boxing we go. Hey, Zoe, remember like a whole, I don't know, checks watch 24 hours ago when I got all excited because August 14th was officially announced as the date of Anthony Joshua v. Tyson Fury and what is boxing's next super match?
You're not going to give us bad news, are you?
I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Oh, I thought we were getting the glass there. I did. There we go. Feel free to overuse that today, by the way. Just have like 9 of them queued up and ready to go. All right? Just like 9 to 10 in case you just need to trigger finger breaking news. An arbitrator, after hearing an argument from ex-heavyweight champion, the bronze bomber Deontay Wilder out of Alabama, the arbitrator, retired Judge Daniel Weinstein, granted an injunction request by Deontay to enforce a provision in his original contract with Fury for a third fight. Weinstein would go on to acknowledge that the fight must take place between Wilder and Fury by September 15th. Now, the arbitration ruling is not a court order, but it is enforceable by the courts, and that makes it likely that Fury will obey the order and fight Deontay Wilder, though he has yet to speak publicly on the issue at hand. The alternative would be for Fury to negotiate a deal with Deontay Wilder to step aside with the agreement that Wilder would, instead of facing Fury for a third time before September, instead face the winner of the heavyweight unification bout between Joshua and Fury. Wilder manager Shelley Finkel said he could not comment. Representatives for Top Rank, which promote Tyson Fury, also declined to comment. And Eddie Hearn, who is Joshua's promoter, did not comment either. Fury and Wilder first fought back on December 1st in 2018 in LA, with the bout coming out a split draw. One judge favored Fury for 114-112. A second favored Wilder 115-111. A third had it all square at 113 apiece. In 2019, they signed a deal to fight again on February 22nd of last year. That contract included a provision for a third fight unless the fighter did not want, or the losing fighter did not want it. Fury won by 7th round TKO. Wilder quickly asserted that he wanted the rematch. The sides originally agreed to a date back in July of 2020, but Wilder had surgery on his left biceps and was not available to fight then. The sides kept searching for a date, first in October, finally into December. They held the date of December 19th, but both ESPN and Fox, which televised the second fight and would have done the third, told promoters that because of a heavy college football schedule on that date, including the SEC championship, a pay-per-view boxing show was not feasible. So they floated the idea into February of 2021, but Tyson Fury said he got tired of waiting and moved on, and the deal was reached for a 2-fight series with Joshua. Wilder then filed the injunction, claiming Fury owed him the fight. Weinstein agreed, so it looks like Deontay Wilder v. Tyson Fury is next, unless Deontay is willing to step aside and allow Fury and Joshua to fight, which would then move Deontay Wilder into the position of taking on the winner of that fight after the titles are unified. We went from, hey, look, we got a fight to, hey, look, we got at least one, maybe two, and a lot of drama coming down the pipe. And I'll tell you, it's at a point in time where boxing certainly could use it.
Well, yeah, I mean, now we know we're going to get a couple fights in there with this, and it shows you how bad he wants Fury again. I love this. It's keeping boxing in the news and keeping it relevant, if you want to call it that. And now, if the lower weight could get some of this stuff going too, but the heavyweights, that's where the money is. And I don't care who the Gypsy King fights. I'm just ready to see him fight again.
Looks like you're getting one, maybe two, if he knocks off Anthony Joshua. If he doesn't, than Deontay Wilder taking on Anthony Joshua is a possibility if Joshua ends up winning that fight against Tyson Fury. We're going to keep an eye on that story as it continues to develop. Item numero dos, to the NHL we go. Round one, game one. Last night, PNC Arena in Raleigh was raucous, to say the least. If you did not watch this game, you missed out on a doozy. The Canes and the Predators faced off. There were over 12,000 fans in attendance, but Alex Nedeljkovic said it sounded more like 24,000 in attendance. 2-2 after two periods. It felt like something had to give. It felt like one team would hit a breaking point, and it was the Preds that broke. The game belonged to Jordan Staal and the Hurricanes in a season in which the Canes captain has been phenomenal, playing his 1,000th career game, voted on by his teammates to be the captain and their most inspirational player of the year. Staal goes out, nets a pair, is the game's first star, scored twice in a 5-2 victory. On the first goal, Staal first won a draw in the neutral zone, took a pass from Brett Pesce, split the Predators' defense, and took the puck almost to the goal line, lifted a heavy rising shot that sailed by Saros' head for a 2-1 lead. The second goal, a deflating one for the Preds. Niederreiter gave the Canes a 3-2 lead in the third. The Canes were coming in at the Preds in wave after wave. Staal won a puck battle with Ryan Ellis behind the Preds net, put first man pressure on the forecheck. Canes forward Warren Foegele came forward for a quick shot on the net that was stopped. Staal corralled it on the rebound in the low slot, turned and zipped a shot through the 5-hole in the bottom. Rod Brindamore said that, quote, he was great. You saw it again. It's just what he does. He plays hard every shift, whatever the situation is. You can count on him. The Hurricanes up 1-0 over the Predators. Game number 2 also at PNC before shifting back to Bridgestone in Nashville. And finally, item number 3, rookie camp underway for the Carolina Panthers. And there's a name that I want you to keep an eye on, and he's already turning heads. I have been told by a few folks in the Panthers organization, in the Panthers fan following, that they were not big fans of Chuba Hubbard, the running back out of Oklahoma State. He was taken in the 4th round, considered a reach by many of the draft experts, but the dude is turning heads already up there in Charlotte. Checks all the physical traits. He is a dude with a tremendous frame. He is very dense, is able to absorb and fight through contact. He's got long-range speed. He's got good burst in and out of cuts. He also has been catching the ball really well out of the backfield. Dangerous after the catch as well. Caught 53 passes for 479 yards and 3 touchdowns in college. And so far, all of the signs are pointing to him looking like a phenomenal compliment to Christian McCaffrey up there in Charlotte. Rashad Beard, who joins us every Thursday at 1 o'clock, said he thought it was a reach, thought it was a little too far. We've had a couple of other Panthers experts on who have said the same so far, but I am going to tell you, Lonzo, I liked the pick at the time. I have liked the pick since then. And so far, he seems to be turning heads up there in Charlotte with the way he is complementing what they feel will be a dynamic 1-2 punch between him and Run CNC. I love the pick, Zoe, and so far it looks like he is shaping up to be exactly what I thought he was going to be, which is a very solid, very dense, very powerful number 2 punch behind the number 1 punch that is Run CMC.
I'll be very interested to see how much playing time he actually gets, though, because it seems like McCaffrey needs the ball a lot more than a lot of other running backs because they use him so much in so many different scenarios in the passing game, also running just about everything you can do with the running back. So how much playing time will he get? hopefully enough to be the 1-2 punch that you're talking about. In the past, Carolina's had some pretty good ones and twos together that put up a decent running game. So hopefully this will repeat.
Yeah, and I'm leaning towards thinking it will. I'm leaning towards thinking this is exactly what they thought it was going to be. I think Chuba Hubbard's a guy that you can throw in there in a dual back situation with CMC. I think he is absolutely, look, as good as Run CMC is at it, I think Chuba Hubbard is a great third and short back, right? You're looking at third and 1.5. Chuba Hubbard's the bowling ball, man. He's the guy that runs the off-guard ISO one-on-one with the linebacker or get him out into space. But I think the other thing he does is he gives you that look. You throw him in there, and you can't take away the thought that he is going to be a pass-catching running back as well, meaning there's a better than good chance that Chuba Hubbard can be utilized as a pass-catching back on those downs as well. So you get to the point where you set him up, and you're looking at a third and 1.5. Chuba Hubbard's in the backfield. You get an 8-man stacked front at the line of scrimmage, and all of a sudden you're running a little swing pass out to him with the lead blocker, maybe a little bubble screen here and there, and you're in great shape, man. You're in great shape at that point. I like the setup, and so far it looks like the folks up there in Charlotte are agreeing with me. We'll break that down.
You know, in that case, real quick, also, you put both of them in that situation, you put both running backs in at the same time, set one up as a fullback, the box is stacked, and all of a sudden you just take both guys out wide.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right?
And
you can set up a dual back situation, Zoe, and then you can motion either one of them out. Motion them both out in the flats, run CMC out to the flats, run Chuba out to the flats. I mean, basically, it gives you a whole lot of tools in the box to do.
Yeah, and the defense has to take it seriously because of how well they are at receiving the ball. So, yeah, I mean, the possibilities are limitless, and it cannot wait for this to happen.
Yeah, he reminds me in that case, he's not quite as fast or agile, but he will be utilized, I think, in the same role in the offense that Reggie Bush used to be utilized by the New Orleans Saints. That is to say, you better have him accounted for, and you better have two people keeping an eye on the zone he's running to, or he will break it open. But it's more about taking the two people with him and opening up other areas in the field for the other guys to step up, except now you got to do it with both him and Run CMC. I love that pick. I thought it was a great pick, and I think he's going to prove that. All right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. Text us at 71307 on the Ingles Market text line, which is now open. 71307 is the Ingles Market text line. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate.
Harley.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
Harley Davidson of Greenville is offering you two things. Number one, they are offering you the opportunity to take advantage of what I am telling you is the best peace of mind activity I have ever had. And that is jumping on the back of a 2021 Harley and riding the roads of the upstate. When I got here, it was one of the things that excited me the most. And I have put something like 3,000 miles on my motorcycle since I moved here. As a matter of fact, planning on getting out and riding a little bit this Saturday as well. And Harley wants you to be able to understand how good it is for you. The second thing they're offering is the opportunity to get on the back of a brand new Harley and get a great value out of a deal. When you trade in your current ride and you trade it in towards a new 2021 Harley-Davidson motorcycle, Greenville Harley-Davidson is going to offer you up to 120% of NADA value. Up to 120% of NADA value for you to put towards a brand new Harley with the brand new paint schemes, the brand new finishes, the brand new gadgets and gizmos, and they can do all the work that you need done on that bike right now in shop to make it the Harley-Davidson of your dreams. And don't forget, they have the largest pre-owned inventory in the upstate. They have over 150 rigs in their pre-owned inventory ready for you. So whether you're looking for a big fat ride like mine, a nice little cruiser, a cafe cruiser to just sprint around downtown, they've got something for you. See the entire inventory by going to upstateharley.com, or visit their beautiful showroom at 30 Chrome Drive. They are your Upstate Harley dealer. They are Harley-Davidson of Greenville. Hello, Miss Lisa. Ben, I gotta get up to a game, man. It's like Raleigh. How far is Raleigh? What's Raleigh? Like 4.5, 5 hours from here?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to get up. It's 4 hours. Looks like it's exactly 4 hours. I very much want to get to a Canes game. I don't know if I'll be able to swing it during the playoffs, especially with what I saw in that crowd last night. I can imagine tickets are cheap.
By the way, real quick, happy birthday to Lisa.
Oh, happy birthday, Miss Lisa. 32 years old today. 32. Very impressive. Well done. Thoughts on Pilar getting rocked in the face and tweeting? Keegan, I saw that happen last night. I had both TVs going. I had the Canes game on one, the Braves-Mets game on the other. I saw that happen. And I watched it happen, and I can't tweet that I'm okay, all right? Ended up with broken, what is it, a broken nasal cavity or something? Like, add him to the list of injuries that I have heard of on the show that I don't think I could punch through. And was tweeting from the hospital an hour later that he's fine. And, by the way, called it a game-winning RBI since it was bases loaded.
Oh, and he hit him in the helmet. Oh, my.
Watch the Lonzo reaction here.
Oh, I just watched it, but I mean, you can bring it up there so everybody else can watch it too. That's what I was looking at. Wow. That had to hurt. That absolutely had to hurt. But yeah, that's the danger. Think about that. Just think about how fast those balls are coming in there and how fearless you have to be to a certain degree. Yeah. I don't know.
You know what the last thing that went through his mind was? His nose. That is a better joke than you gave it credit for, Zoe.
No, I was my hesitation was me thinking, man, that was good. I wish I would have said that. Yeah.
Ben, I will take you up on that, brother. I will take you up on that. It'll probably be regular season next year. And you know, next year when the Preds go up to Raleigh, I may very well ride up there and go see one with you.
30 seconds. By the way, Adam, you know, I think Lonzo's hands are cold, first world problems. Let me tell you something, Adam. Lonzo's hands are magic. That's I mean, with Lonzo's hands, creation is an amazing thing. You combine Lonzo's hands with Lonzo's ears, no comparison.
Ins and outs, real, unfiltered sports talk. It's the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
It is the Rob Brown Show, and it is on ESPN Upstate, my friends. Welcome back. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, all around the world on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Download it to your phone now and keep up to date with all of the sports, podcasts, news, information, and entertainment audio that matters to you. It's the Odyssey app. Get it right now. Kind of cool breaking news. Pretty excited about this, although it is 7 years old. Yes. USC and UNC.
By the way, that scared you a little bit. I saw you jump.
A little bit. I was not. I had forgotten that existed. I was not prepared for the breaking news sounder. I will get used to it eventually. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The University of South Carolina and the University of North Carolina have agreed to resume their rivalry. That game is back on. They played back in 2019, and they will get it back on 7 years from now, September 2nd, 2028. That game will be hosted at Williams-Brice. UNC will host the Gamecocks the following year on September 1st. The last game back in 2019 in Charlotte, UNC got the better end of that deal, 24-20, snapped a 3-game winning streak for the Gamecocks, did the Tar Heels. They have played each other 58 times so far, dating back to 1903, with UNC holding a 35-19-4 advantage. Before that series, the Gamecocks and the Tar Heels are also scheduled to play September 2nd, 2023, at the Dukes Mayo Classic. Of course it is, in Charlotte's Bank of America Stadium. So we get 2 years until that rematch, and then they will match back up again in 2028. I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited about that one, Lonzo. To me, and I don't know, man. Listen, I think this is one of those things that you guys locally will get to educate me a little bit. But I kind of want that border rivalry, man. I kind of want a UNC-USC rivalry that is more commonplace than a couple of times every decade. I think listen, I know Clemson and Carolina already have the Palmetto State rivalry. I understand that that's the ACC-SEC matchup. And, not many teams want to give up their out-of-conference cupcakes every year to build and grow on. But, man, I would love to see a UNC-USC consistent rivalry. That'd be great.
All right, so I've seen complaints online about why are we playing the ACC, but you just talked about cupcakes, and that's why South Carolina is playing the ACC. Put Clemson aside. We know who Clemson is, but after Clemson, what else is there in the ACC? So this might as well be a lower tier gimme game going up against North Carolina. So it's good that South Carolina scheduled a couple more wins.
Yeah, it is. It is a gimme game. Oh, well, let me rephrase that. I don't know that this is a gimme game because I'll tell you, though, I think North Carolina is going to be a football team this year. And if they continue to grow the way that they have been growing the last couple of years, I think they are very much pointed in the right direction to become Now, I'm not going to put them up there with the likes of Clemson in the ACC just yet, but I'm telling you right now, Carolina is going to have one of the better defenses in the country this year. Watch out. And if they can continue that foundation of success, 2023 will be a game between the Gamecocks.
Yeah, come on, man. That's a basketball school. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know why we're talking about this on the show. You're talking about a rivalry between South Carolina and North Carolina? Come on. Come on.
Rivalry I would like.
Come on.
I would like it to be a rivalry. I think it'd be good. I'm down for border wars, right? Florida, Georgia is a great rivalry. Granted, it is in conference. The three-way rivalry we used to deal with down in Florida between FSU, Florida, and Miami. When Florida and Miami got together, it was a special year. Florida and Miami kind of have the same situation where, every 4 or 5 years, they end up playing each other. And pop up on the schedule, it just makes it more fun.
Here's why it can't be a rivalry. With everything I just said, are the phones ringing? Have we gotten any comments from North Carolina fans? No. You know why? Because there aren't any. No, because there aren't any North Carolina fans. They're basketball fans. Come on.
There's got to be, right?
No. Right. For football? For football. No.
Here's what I'll tell you. Carolina this year, Lonzo. You ready for this? Here's one of my bold predictions for college football. North Carolina this year will be a 9-3 or 10-2 football team. All right, they're going to be they are going to be a surprisingly good football team this year.
Not really hard to do. in the ACC.
Do you want to just do you have a rain sounder that you can play over my parade? Can you just maybe just have some fart noises you play every time I talk about a thing I'm excited about, Lonzo? That's not what I was looking for.
Rob is excited about North Carolina and South Carolina.
This is a 9-3, 10-2 team this year. They do not have Clemson on the schedule this year. They've got Virginia Tech on opening day Friday in Blacksburg. That'll be a good game. I don't know what FSU is going to look like, but FSU bit them last year. They might be able to do the same. That'll be a game. They're at Notre Dame. That'll probably be an L. They're at home against Miami. That'll be a game. And then outside of that, it should be all wins. So if they take 2 of the 4 that look like games, they are going to be a 10-2, 9-3 ball club at the worst, which sets them up if they can get some more talent. Look, North Carolina, South Carolina produce plenty of football talent, right? We've seen it. They produce plenty of football talent. It's just that North Carolina has always been a basketball school. You give them by 2023, they might be able to circle that around a little bit. Is all I'm saying. Here I am trying to build a little excitement for the Gamecocks fans, and Lonzo just stepping all over it. Just no selling the excitement for Gamecocks fans.
I think I had tried to build some excitement and tried to rile up the non-existent North Carolina fans.
Quick break. We're back after this, and maybe Lonzo will get excited about whatever I'm going to talk about next. I guess we'll see. The Rob Brown Show rolls off. Rob Lonzo, you at ESPN Upstate.
The Rob.
Hitting the restroom, boys and girls. I will be right back. Lonzo is in charge. Good luck with that. No.
I would have talked while Rob was in the restroom, but I don't want to interrupt.
What'd I do? Jeremy talking to my Alexa?
I heard voices in the background. Yes, I wasn't quite sure what it was. I didn't know if you often talked while you were in the restroom or not. I don't know.
That's when I get my Alexa catch-ups, man. Remind me next break to share something with you I got to see last year.
Okay.
A couple years ago.
1 minute.
Ben says he's watching the Christopher Nolan Batman series with his son for the first. Oh, you'll love it, man. You'll love it.
Made for upstate sports junkies.
These pathetic junkies? Oh, look at them.
You eat sports like food every day. Get hooked on the Rob Brown Show, noon to 3 every weekday on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. Rob, Lonzo, and you. Be a part of the program. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP. ESPN, that is the number to be a part of the radio broadcast. Look, we talk baseball on the show, and we talk about guys when they are stepping up, but man, Shohei Ohtani right now, 13 RBI or 13 home runs, leads the majors at 26-year-old, a pitcher and hitter. The dude is a monster right now. 1-0, a 2.1 ERA, 40 Ks in 25 and 2/3 innings of work. Also leads the major leagues with 13 home runs and 25 extra base hits. He struck out 10 and allowed just one run over 7 in the last outing. Hit a game-winning home run at Fenway Park on Sunday. Played an inning in right field after pitching last Tuesday. Earlier this season, threw a fastball at 101 and blasted a home run 451 feet. And back on April 25th, became the first player since Babe Ruth in 1921 to start a game on the mound while also leading the majors in home runs. This kid is unbelievable. And what he's doing on the diamond right now is unbelievable. Look, I don't care if you're a moderate baseball fan. If you are not watching when Shohei Ohtani is on the field, you are missing out. Zoe, I try not to be too much of a sensationalist. I try not to get too carried away with takes, but I'm going to right here. Shohei Ohtani is the most impressive baseball player overall that we have seen in some time. We can talk about Fernando Tatis Jr. We can talk about Ronald Acuna Jr. We can talk about Mike Trout, who, by the way, left the game last night with a strained calf. We can talk about some of the sluggers in the game. We can talk about some of the Cy Young Award winners in the game. But what this dude is doing as a two-way player right now is untalked about. It's unheralded. We have not seen the likes of it maybe in my lifetime. I am trying to think of not just a two-way player, but a two-way player who is one of the better ones on the hill and at the dish in the entire league, top to bottom. I'm putting him up there right now, and it's a single season performance, although he was very good last year too. But what he is doing right now is on par, I think, with any athlete doing anything in any sport anywhere right now. And the dude deserves more credit for what he's accomplishing right now. Lonzo, even if you're not a baseball fan, you've got to acknowledge that what this kid is doing is unheard of.
So I have it. So let's say that there's a listener out there tuning in for the first time and they're just getting into sports and they don't know what a two-way player is. Can you describe what that is exactly? Because you said that multiple times. There may be some people who don't know what that is.
A two-way player in baseball is a guy who both pitches and plays in the field. So most of your pitchers are only pitchers. the vast majority, 99% of your field position players only play their field position or a small number of field positions. A two-way player is a guy who does both. He can pitch and he can play in the field. Not just like, oh, we need another guy out and go some balls, but plays the position. So it's not an emergency situation. This is someone good enough to play either place. Correct. This is a dude, and I think that's the impressive thing. We see two-way players pop up every now and then, right? Every now and then we see two-way players pop up, and you see a guy who plays a little time out in right field and also can throw some innings when he's needed to. We don't really see a guy throwing at Cy Young levels and also leading the league in majors at the same time. And by we don't see, I mean we don't see. Like, it doesn't happen. Babe Ruth in 1921 was the last guy to do it. And if the club, Lonzo, if the club is Babe Ruth and this other guy, I think that speaks pretty loudly about what that accomplishment actually is. Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably pretty good company right there. Yeah. If the club is Shohei and the Babe, it's a pretty freaking exclusive club. And he's not just in the club. He is the club right now. There's no one else in that clubhouse doing and really maybe ever what Shohei Ohtani is doing right now. And he's doing it at 26 years old. The kid's a phenom. The kid's a phenom. Look, if you are a person who gets more excited, and there are plenty of you, if you get more excited by the personal stories in sports than the sports themselves, excuse me. If you are more invested in what individual dudes and chicks are doing on the pitch as opposed to the sports and the scores and the stats, then Shohei Ohtani is a story you need to be checking in on. And when the Angels get out there and play ball, it now, especially when Shohei is throwing, needs to be must-watch baseball for you, all right? It needs to be must-watch baseball. What this kid is doing on the diamond right now is unreal. It's unreal. And listen, I know after doing this gig for 15 years, all right, I've been around a minute and in a few different markets. I know that baseball is about number 9 on the priority list of things to be talking about. I know that baseball is about number 9 on the priority list of what you guys want to hear about, and I get that, which is why we do, I don't know what, Zoe, 2-3 baseball segments a week at most we do, because it's just not a hot topic. I am telling you now that one player is worthy of multiple segments a week, and it's Shohei Ohtani. What this cat is doing right now is unbelievable. I mean, literally unbelievable. Like, I looked it up this morning after home run blast number 13, and when I started looking through where he stands both on the diamond and at the dish, it's unbelievable to think that a two-way guy is doing what Shohei Ohtani is doing right now. It really is. All right, 844-477-3776, 844-GSP ESPN. Shoot us a text on the Eagles Market text line at 71307. A few texts that have come in so far. Rob at ESPN. Chuba Hubbard can fight through contract. He's his own free agent. I may have been a little excited. All right. I may have been a little excited and threw an extra R in there, but your autocorrect changed it to China Hubbard. So you made a mistake in correcting my mistake. Welcome to the bottom of the barrel, bud. Welcome to the bottom of the barrel. At ESPN, Rob, breaking news. Duke Mayo is best in a bowl, end quote. At ESPN, Zoe, breaking news. Batman is not Batman without Alfred. I think people are just saying things in order to call for the breaking news sounder. By the way, that last statement, pretty true. 100% accurate. Yeah. 100% without a doubt, yeah. At ESPN, do you think it's time for Vince McMahon to hang it up and lets someone else run the WWE. He only allows a few guys to be down our throats over and over again. It used to be John Cena. Now it's McIntyre on Raw and Roman Reigns on SmackDown. The WWE title is more about getting McIntyre back in it and not about Bobby Lashley, the champ, and no one can get the Universal title from Roman Reigns at all. A lot of good wrestlers are getting lost in the shuffle.
I just want to say,
that he's right.
You know, what if Kofi wins it again? Will you still be saying that?
No, I wouldn't still be saying that.
I was talking to the texter. I wasn't talking to you, but I guess if you're agreeing with the texter that this is over and over again, but Kofi was thrown into the mix last night.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he won. Yeah, there was interference, but so what? He still won.
No, he's just a placeholder until Vince can get McIntyre back where he wants him. At ESPN, Rob, breaking news. I love the breaking news sounder. That was the breaking news. The breaking news is he loves the breaking news sounder. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1 after this. I'm Rob Brown. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
Marvin says, I hope he keeps it up at least to an all-star level at batting on the mound for at least a decent amount of years. Would be very interesting to watch. It's already interesting to watch, Marvin, but you're spot on. If he continues what he's doing, the dude is going to be the highest paid guy in baseball. Without a doubt, man. The kid's a stud. The kid's a monster. I don't think anybody can argue with that.
And now, the nations of the world, brought to you by United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, the Republic of Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Trinidad, Salvador, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and Spain, Guatemala, Bolivia, and Argentina, and Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Costa Rica, Haiti, Nicaragua, Bermuda, Bahamas, Jamaica, San Juan, America, Uruguay, Suriname, and Guyana, Barbados, and Uruguay.
Filmed this live in person, Zoe, and it was unreal.
Wait, you were there?
Yep. Yeah, I took this about, what's the date on that? 2019, so yeah, shortly before I moved here.
Was he doing an entire concert or what was going on?
Yes, it was him. It was him, the voice of Dot, the voice of Pinky and the Brain. Who else? There was like 2 or 3 other voice actors from the old classic era.
You know there are new ones out, right?
Yep.
I've only watched a couple.
If I recall at the end of this one, I'll skip ahead a little bit, but if I recall at the end of this one, it's almost over. He actually adds I don't remember if I filmed it or not, but he did all the new countries that have come in since they released this. Rob Paulson, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely fantastic stuff, though.
Definitely a big fan of Rob Paulson.
Yeah, I think I told you I had him record on my old phone, which of course died and I don't have anymore. But I had him record my voicemail message as Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles, who he also voiced back in the day. So when you called my phone, Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles told you that I was busy eating a cheese pizza with the turtles and could not answer my phone, so to please leave a message. Cowabunga, dude. It was like the greatest thing that's ever happened.
So I think the real question is, why didn't you pull that from your phone and put it on a computer somewhere where it could have been?
The phone's gonna die. A and B, I'm an idiot. Those are the two reasons. Primary two reasons.
I'm not being mean, but you know, the first thing I would do is when I got home would be pull that and put it several different places so I never ever lost it.
The good news is they still go out on tour, and if he ever comes back, I will ask him once again to do that. Trust me, I was dead to myself when that happened.
You know, I don't believe you can lose your man card or your macho card or your nerd card, but that has to take some points away.
Yeah, but the difference is I once had a voicemail from the OG Michelangelo recording the message. So I may have lost a couple points, but for about 8-9 months, my nerd cred was
well, you're right, because you actually were able to obtain said message.
Correct. So I lost 100 points, but I gained 2,000.
I don't know. You lost a bunch by losing the message. You really did. 20 seconds.
Down on Twitter.
Tweet at The Rob Brown Show.
On the Upstate Sports Leader, ESPN Upstate.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1 here on the broadcast. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. So we were super pumped earlier in the week because we were getting the fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. It looked like that was a done deal for August 14th in Saudi Arabia. Everything but the window dressing was done. And then it was announced earlier in the day that retired Judge Daniel Weinstein, an arbitrator in a case between Deontay Wilder, the former champ, said that Tyson Fury owes Deontay Wilder a third fight. They had the 2 fights. The first was a split decision draw. The second was a 7th round TKO in which Tyson Fury took Deontay Wilder out. After that fight, Deontay came out and said that he was not what he should have been and where he should have been. Mentally said he was fatigued. He didn't have his all behind him, yada, yada, yada. Either way, he lost the fight in the 7th round, and the contract called for a 3rd round fight. There were a bunch of delays between that 2019 fight and December of last year. And basically Tyson Fury said, I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of standing around. I'm ready for the next fight. And Anthony Joshua wants it. So let's go ahead and sign the contract. Well, now the arbitrators come out and said, whoa, not so fast, my friend. you still owe Deontay Wilder a fight, which means that there are now one of two possibilities. Possibility number one is that the fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua is off, and Tyson Fury will fight Deontay Wilder sometime in the very near future. Anthony Joshua will then either come up with another fight or will wait on the winner of that one to unify the belt afterward. Or number two, the other option would be that Deontay Wilder would allow Tyson Fury to fight Anthony Joshua, but he would basically get first dibs. He would get first dibs on the winner of that fight and would get the opportunity to take over the unified belt at that point. Zoe, I got to tell you, man, I'm good either way. I'm cool with either one of those two. Either way, we're getting a duo of super fights sometime in the next year and a half, and at a point in time where that sport needs it more than ever before.
You know what would be even cooler is if one of those fights would actually happen in America.
Yeah, I could see Deontay pushing for the fight to take place in the United States. I don't know if he would get it. Tyson Fury is the draw right now. I love Deontay Wilder. I got to watch Deontay Wilder fight in person in Alabama. Deontay Wilder's a stud, but Tyson Fury is the draw. There's no doubt about it. So I suspect that it would be it would likely be a home fight for Tyson Fury. Anthony Joshua, same story out of the UK. I bet either one of those fights ends up in the UK unless the Saudis are going to just continue to throw stacks and stacks and stacks of cash at both fighters. Hey, if you have the fight here, we'll toss an extra $10 million onto both sides of the purse. What do you say? Yeah, we can make all the judgments that we want to make, but at the end of the day, if you ask me to do 10 mil for something, yeah, I'm going to do that thing without asking. Sorry who I upset. I'll give you like $1,000 to go away. All right? Quick break. We're back after this. When we come back, are NFL QBs becoming divas? One Hall of Fame general manager says yes, and I say he's wrong. We'll talk about that next on The Rob Brown Show. It's ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate.
What's up to everybody on the live stream? Thanks for hanging out with us, y'all. Leave your comments, your thoughts on any of the platforms. Zoe and I will read them on the air. Got to talk some NBA. Charlotte getting that play-in game night ready, too. Win or go home, C-Town, Queen City.
So if you were to put up a poll, are NFL quarterbacks divas, how do you think that poll would go? I think we both know.
85% say yes.
I would say like 92%.
We can throw it on the poll.
I am so looking forward to this discussion because I want to see if you can convince me that they're not divas, because I don't think that you can, but you're pretty good at your job. We'll see what happens.
Oh, thanks, man. That's the nicest thing somebody said to me today, this week, this month, maybe.
Let's face it. How much is the Lonzo seal of approval actually worth? Nah, not much.
I'll let you know when it comes time to sign a new contract next year. I'll be able to put an actual number on it. Oh,
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't. Well, I can't hit it now.
I'm saving it, telling you what it is.
Well, actually, I could hit it now. You just wouldn't hear it.
I could, right? You could send it to just me and not over the air, right?
Oh, no. We could interrupt what's going on right now and go to breaking news. We could do that. If you interrupt programming, that makes it more breaking news. I mean, makes it more significant.
Extra breaking news.
ESPN Upstate.
Warning.
Man, check this out.
Your unofficial Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Hour 2 of the Rob Brown Show is back on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob, he is Lonzo, you are you, and hanging out with us. Thank you so much for doing so. You're part of the show. Text us on the Eagles Market text line at 71307. It is open for you right now, or tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo Onward, at ESPN Upstate, always for you to go to get in touch with us on the broadcast today, and we certainly want you to do just that. Lonzo, breaking news. South Carolina has announced that they will go back to full capacity starting with this week's SEC matchup against the Tennessee Volunteers. 100% capacity available at Founders Park for the remainder of this season. Now, we do know as of right now that the NCAA is still planning on only allowing 50% capacity for the regionals and super regionals, though there is a little bit of time left for them to reverse course and to go full capacity. But as we continue to see the normalization of life in sports post-pandemic, not that we are out of it, but post the worst part of it, Founders Park will go back to 100% capacity. That news being broken earlier today. They have a Tennessee Volunteer visit scheduled for this weekend. Ray Tanner announced earlier this morning that, quote, stadium capacity at this weekend's baseball series between Tennessee and South Carolina at Founders Park will be 100%. Face coverings will be encouraged but not required in outdoor areas. Face coverings will be required in indoor areas of Founders Park for both fans and staff, except when actively eating or drinking. Tanner said, quote, in working with our medical task force, they have advised our department that it is not necessary to cut back on stadium attendance at this weekend's baseball series. We look forward to having Founders Park full of Gamecock fans in this important SEC series. And, quote, game number 1 between the Gamecocks and the Volunteers starts on Thursday at 7. Round number 2, action picks up Friday at 7. And then we will have a Saturday matinee when the Gamecocks and the Volunteers go first pitch at noon. It is the final scheduled games of the 2021 season, with the SEC baseball tournament beginning on May 25th. The first 2 games will be on SEC Network Plus. The series finales live on the SEC Net on Saturday. Fans will also be allowed to resume normal tailgating activities around the stadium with no COVID-related restrictions. Parking lots will open 2 hours prior to first pitch. Gates to Founders Park will open 1 hour before first pitch, and tickets for the series will go on sale tomorrow morning. South Carolina on May 14th was named as one of 20 predetermined preliminary first-round sites for the 2021 Division I Championship. Of the 20 selected sites, 16 will be chosen to host regional round games. And again, the NCAA will allow up to 50% fan capacity at the predetermined sites. That will be announced. Those sites will be announced on May 30th. So there is your breaking news right here on ESPN Upstate, brought to you by Odyssey.com Sports and presented by BetQL. Become a better, get smarter, and beat the books. Download the BetQL app or visit BetQL.com today. Lonzo, man, I got to tell you, I was at the Braves game last Saturday. They were at full capacity. I went to Clemson last Tuesday for a Clemson-South Carolina Palmetto State rivalry matchup. They were still COVID restricted to some degree, but there were fans in attendance. And I know we keep hitting on this, but I don't know that there is a way not to talk about the importance and how great it feels to get back to having sports with full stands. We saw it last night in the Carolina Hurricanes Nashville Predators matchup at PNC up in Raleigh. There were 12,000 plus in the stands there. The players were saying it sounded like 24,000. As we continue to get folks vaccinated, as we continue to get folks back into stadiums, man, I don't think I'm quite ready to say, hey, sports is back. But, Zoe, I got to tell you, it does feel like we're pretty damn close, to be honest.
You know, from another standpoint, I think it's good that it's slowly coming back, because if this limited amount of fans sounds to the players what they remember full capacity sounding like, imagine what it would be like if you just came back and was full capacity. Yeah. And hearing that sound, the roar of, especially like football, when you got 80, 90,000 people in there, you have to recondition yourself about how that sounds. But when you go from silence to actually being able to hear the crowd, it's got to be musical.
I can't imagine. I mean, like I said, I was watching two games last night. I was watching the Atlanta Braves take on the New York Mets at Truist, and I was watching the hockey game between Nashville and Carolina. And I'll tell you, Lonzo, in both games, you heard the crowd. It sounded like a real crowd. The hockey game was probably the most normal event that I have seen / heard on television since the pandemic started, maybe. It felt like a hockey game. Atlanta United played a game in the ATL last weekend, and they had over 40,000 people in attendance, 40K plus. It was the largest sporting event in the world since the beginning of the pandemic lockdowns globally. And look, like I said, I know we've still got some work to do, and there's still a bunch of pushes that need to be made. But, man, to be able to see sports back, to have such a contrast, Lonzo, from where we were literally a year ago today, right? A year ago today, Diesel and I at the time were sitting here, and you and Mark Ryan were doing the same thing on Offsides, sitting here and doing two things. Number one, we were trying to figure out, how do you take a documentary about sports and turn it into hours of content? And number two, are we ever going to get back to a point where baseball and football feel like they used to felt, where hockey and basketball feel like they used to feel? And, you know, I've told people this a handful of times, though. I will never again not appreciate what it means to have sports with the presentation that is given with a full stadium. I'll never take it for granted. Look, the NBA Finals and playoffs last year with no fans, Major League Baseball last year with no fans, it just doesn't have the same feel. It doesn't have the same presentation. And now that we have gone through that period of time with that reality, to watch 12,000 sound like 24 inside of PNC last night, to hear 18,000 Braves fans in Truist Park last night, it's just, man, it's something that I didn't know how much I appreciate it until it was gone. And now that it's back, Lonzo, man, the warm fuzzies were just flying.
Well, I think a lot of people were their jobs were in jeopardy, but ours were very much in jeopardy. And, you know, every day you come in and it's another day without sports, and you're sitting there thinking, okay. And I tend to I have what could be called gallows humor. So I'm always joking about, okay, we're getting replaced today. I'm going to go out and buy a cowboy hat because we're going to be country tomorrow. And knowing that we had to do shows, you know, Monday through Friday 3 hours and 4 hours with no sports. And that fear that maybe the next day would be the day where the plug would get pulled. And now we're seeing sports on TV. We're seeing crowds return. And it's not that you feel safety. You just feel like, hey, you made it through. You made it through something that that you thought, didn't know that we'd be sitting here a year later. We didn't know if we would still, that this sports station would exist. And it's just, so every fan allowed back in the stadium, it's just so awesome.
Yeah, we talked about that last year, and I've had some conversations with people, Lonzo, where I've told them, and some people have thought I was being, sensationalist or sarcastic when I said there was a point in time, and Zoe, tell me if I'm going too far here, or tell the people if you think I'm going too far. There was a point in time last year where we were all kind of like, do we need to get our resumes up to date? Do we need to start looking at, moving into another format of radio? Do we need to start being concerned that maybe our time in radio is over because we're not going to get through this? There was a point in time last year where I legitimately feared for my job and my career because of the loss of sports. And we pushed through, and I think we did a fantastic job, if I may pat us on the backs collectively at ESPN Upstate, in keeping sports talk relevant without sports, and then with sports in a different way than we've ever seen them before. It was quite the push, and it was not easy to do. But now that we've gone through that, what's the old phrase? You don't know what you've got until it's gone. When we thought we had lost sports and maybe our careers in them for a while, Zoe, to be able to sit down and watch hockey last night and see that many people in the in PNC waving the flags, rocking the "We're a Bunch of Jerks" t-shirts, man, I just kind of sunk into the couch and took it in for a minute, because you appreciate it in a way that I don't think any of us have ever appreciated it before.
Yeah, I think there probably are some people out there who thinks that we are coloring this in a way to make it, extreme but it really was that case. We would have those conversations off the air of, okay, what are we going to do if sports don't come back? Because, and I would go down the hall and ask, how long can you do a sports show without sports? Just trying to read the room, trying to see if I can make someone crack, to see if there was a chance that maybe we were in trouble. But the person I was talking to, he don't crack. He does not. So, a lot of people have telltale signs where you can tell if something's it doesn't work with him. So, but every day it would be the same feeling to come in here and sit in here and go, you know what? This could be the last day that we're doing this. And I don't know if the desperation came through on the air and caused us to rise to it. And I know other sports stations struggled, but we did not. So I mean, every year at this time, and I don't know how long we'll still do this, but I think every year around this time, we're going to think about, hey, man, we made it through that, and sports is still here, and we're still here.
100%. Like I said, I don't think it is over the top. I don't think it's facetious. I don't think we're being sensationalist to tell you. We absolutely, for a while there, we were absolutely all very concerned with our jobs and whether they would continue to exist. I mean, it was a real thing. So to be able to sit last night and to be able to watch that game play out in Carolina, to be able to watch that game play out in Nashville, or with Nashville, to be able to watch the Mets and the Braves, to be able to get through it and see those crowds last night in that capacity, it was indeed a breath of fresh air for me. All right, when we come back, our quarterbacks divas. One Hall of Fame general manager says yes, they are. Zoe agrees. I'm going to convince them both that they're wrong. That's next on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Lonzo and you. It's ESPN Upstate.
Golf cart.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your computer and tablet at ESPNUpstate.com.
The 2021 Upstate golf card is it's not yours now. You got to buy it first. But it's available to be yours now. It could be yours now. And for just $99. That's right. Check this out. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me you're going to find a better deal anywhere in the Upstate. And I will tell you that you, my friend, are just flat out wrong. $99 is getting you a round of golf at not 1, not 2, not 3, but 9 of the most prestigious, most beautiful courses around the entire Upstate. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. $99. You're getting 9 rounds of golf. That is less than $15 a round, less than $1 a hole, and it is at 9 beautiful courses around the area. You got to get it now, though, because supplies are limited and they will sell out. They will sell out. They will sell out. I guarantee it. Go to upstategolfcart.com to get all the details. Pick one up for you. Pick one up for your friends, your family. Get out there and enjoy the beautiful spring weather around the Upstate. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the 2021 Upstate Golf Card on sale now at upstategolfcard.com.
Check out what I just sent you.
Check out my melody. All right. Guess I won't be doing anything on May 20th. Rambo and John McClane coming to
no, but look what you can do.
I didn't open it. I should open it.
I don't want to spoil it. Nakatomi Plaza.
Are they adding it to the game?
What is this? That's what it says.
Skins for. You can also do the battle at Nakatomi Plaza in Warzone. Maybe.
There you go. I mean, is Hans in the building though? That's the question.
Nakatomi Plaza is a 5-story structure and the tallest in Warzone, and is expected to appear in Verdansk for a limited time only. Nakatomi Tower features an elaborate and difficult to crack vault, perhaps
15 seconds.
Loot. Oh, let's go. Rambo is bringing survival camp.
He's not messing around. Real, unfiltered sports talk on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Ron Wolf is a Hall of Fame general manager, certainly put his time in the league. Hall of Fame GM Ron Wolf appeared on the Big Show network, where he complained about quarterbacks trying to take charge of their careers, existing contractual commitments to their current teams notwithstanding. And I went and pulled some of the audio for you here. Here's a couple of clips from Ron Wolf talking about that, and he mentions one particular quarterback by name. Here's Ron Wolf.
We got a lot of divas playing in that league right now, and that may be a way of solving it. It's an interesting phenomenon as far as I'm concerned about what's going on here. And the thing that I fail to understand is all these guys that are doing this have long-term deals. I just can't I can't believe that the game has changed that remark. And you guys both played, so you know, Gary, from the time you played, and Leroy from the time you played, I know the game has changed. Mm-hmm. But it can't have changed that much.
It can't have changed that much, says Ron Wolf. He went on to say that a lot of guys are just trying to find something to, quote, gripe about, end quote.
It's an interesting dilemma. You know, and I think anybody can say, "Oh, you know, if I was there, that you should attack it before it happens." But how do you know it's going to happen? All three of these guys have signed long-term contracts, and they're under contract. So I'm sure at that time there wasn't anybody holding a gun to their head saying you have to sign. But now they're not happy. They're not happy with the team they signed a contract with. So to me, it's very, very interesting.
So Ron Wolf says these guys are finding something to gripe about, and the game can't have changed that much. Let me tell you what I heard in listening to Ron Wolf here. And this is going to be one of those things that I am obligated to preface with no disrespect, but ... The game has changed that much. The game has changed that much. Every time we talk about the NFL, we call it what? A quarterback-driven league. Go back and look at every one of the Super Bowl teams of this decade, and you will find that with the exception of what? Brad Johnson with the Buccaneers in 2003, was it? With the exception of Brad Johnson, every team that has won a Super Bowl has done so with a top 5 or 6 quarterback in the league that year. Every one of them. And on top of that, look at what happens with quarterbacks in the league the second that their production falls off. The second their production falls off, these quarterbacks are basically tossed into the waste bin. Some of them are given a chance to revitalize their career elsewhere, right? Sam Darnold in Carolina this year. But there has been an attitude shift, I would argue, not just in football, but in the United States of America, where people who are working, not the business owners, not the bosses, but the labor, of which, while it sounds ridiculous, quarterbacks are still providers of labor in the National Football League. There has been an attitude shift in this country from you should give everything you have to your employer to you should give everything you have to yourself. You got to take care of you. You got to make sure that number one is looked after. And I know there are some people that are sour on that attitude. Well, if you're not going to give everything to whoever's signing your checks, you shouldn't give it. I don't know, man. I don't know. Because I have been in a lot of situations, me personally, where I have laid everything that I have had down for a radio station. And the minute they found that somebody else would come in and do more of it for less money, your boy was to the wayside. For 3.5, 4 years, I hosted both drive time shows. I got up at 4:30 in the morning. I worked on air from 6 to 9. I ran the station from 9 to noon. I would take 1 or 2 hours of lunch. I'd be back in the saddle at 2, and I would host a show from 3 to 7 every day. And the minute that they found out that they could divvy that up, go to syndication on one drive time and pay somebody less to do another show, I was out. I gave everything I had to that company, and I got the shaft the minute they felt like they could get somebody else to do it better, cheaper. There's an attitude of make sure you are capitalizing on your talents and not being taken advantage of. A guy like Aaron Rodgers, who is the guy that Ron Wolf called out by name, is looking at the Green Bay Packers in the way that they have built the team the last couple of years. Lonzo, I promise you I'm going to give you the mic, but I want you to answer me a question, simply yes or no. Have the Green Bay Packers done the best that they could do to provide Aaron Rodgers with an offense that is Super Bowl caliber?
No.
Okay. So, Aaron Rodgers says, I am 37 years old. I am the reigning, defending, undisputed NFL MVP. I was a Tom Brady miracle away from being in the Super Bowl last year. And yet, for the third year in a row, you could not do anything to help me push this team over the ledge, and I'm not happy about it. He's not wrong for feeling that way. He's not wrong. When he's watching other teams that do more to build around quarterbacks that are less talented, Aaron Rodgers is ticked off, and he has the right to be. That is not being a diva. That is not finding something to gripe about. That is saying, look, the only reason that the Green Bay Packers have been on the national scale for the last decade is because of me. And he's not wrong. And you have given nothing back to me in helping me build. Did he sign a contract? Yes. Is he under contract? Yes. But there are elements to signing a contract, which is I expect my employer to do the most that he can do with the resources he has to help succeed. If I showed up to this gig and our boss said, oh, by the way, you don't get a producer. You have to create and make every bit of audio that goes on your show, and you will be held responsible for its failure when it fails, I wouldn't have taken the job. And if I sign the contract and into my contract, that's it. If tomorrow I get the call, hey, we've decided Lonzo's more valuable elsewhere, so now you're your own producer and your own content generator and your own sound engineer. You're in charge of everything on your show. Dude,
be careful about what you say.
I know. I also realize I'm walking a gambit
it's not a good thing.
If that happened, then I'd have a real qualm about continuing my contract because it's not what I signed up for. Aaron Rodgers is not being a diva. Aaron Rodgers is saying, we have gotten to this point where we let teams get away with everything because, hey, you should lay it all on the line for the team. Well, the team should have some expectations placed on it as well. And if you think that the Green Bay Packers have genuinely met their expectations in building that team around the NFL's MVP, I am going to staunchly disagree with you. Zoe, that's not a guy being a diva or being selfish. That's a guy who's going, I have expectations based on you, and you have them on me. I'm meeting mine. You're not meeting yours. We may have to part ways over it. Ron Wolf sounds like a guy who is yelling at the new wave of NFLers to get off his lawn.
By the way, you can be both. You can be a diva and be right, which is what Aaron Rodgers is. He's both. One of the comparisons you made, which made me laugh out loud, was that quarterbacks are labor. That's funny, because labor is that center, is that guard, is that tackle. The quarterback is that guy who's been appointed team leader and then gets all the credit for everything that the labor around him does. And quarterbacks have been divas since the dawn of time, from the peewee level all the way up to the professional level. That's never changed. And it was that way when Ron Wolf was in football. It isn't like suddenly they got worse. Quarterbacks are always like that. And yes, I'm coming at this from a perspective of a former offensive lineman who are underappreciated, and not divas, by the way, but actually labor. And the fact that quarterbacks, it's okay to be a diva for the most part. It's okay, but they are getting a little bit out of hand. What they're doing is they're seeing what the NBA, who decided that the players are the most important thing, which I'm not saying is right or wrong, but they put all the power in the players' hands. The NFL is starting to the quarterbacks are first going, hey, look at how the NBA is getting treated. That's how I want to be treated. I want to have the power to say, you know what? I don't want to play for this team anymore. I want to go somewhere else. Now, Aaron Rodgers' case is different. I'd say his case is different than anywhere else, because it's obvious that they haven't given him the things that he needs, and any success they've had has been mostly because of him. But if you look around, there are a lot of diva quarterbacks. I think you're wrong as far as that goes, but I guess you're right at the same time. Divas have always been there. They're always going to be there. They're always going to be the quarterback. There's no changing that. Will they get worse? Yes, if they're allowed to get worse. If they're allowed to get what they're asking for, they're going to get worse. And I just think that Aaron Rodgers is different. I don't think he counts in those. Now, Russell Wilson, diva, for sure. Some other quarterbacks out there, for sure, divas, because Russell Wilson has had some pretty good weapons and things. And they see the Tom Brady treatment. Tom Brady went somewhere and was able to do, as a free agent, by the way, he was free to go where he wanted to, and he went and he called his shot, and he was able to succeed. Yes, that hurt to say. But Aaron Rodgers is in a bad situation, but he's still a diva at the same time.
I will not disagree that there is an attitude amongst quarterbacks that goes all the way back to high school. All right. Middle school. There is. And of course there is. Every positive play, the quarterback's name is attached to. We get it. Right. And if you find a great quarterback, we bend over back. In fact, I had this conversation on a podcast a few days ago with a friend of mine where we got to talking about it. And I said, look, we as sports fans have created this culture where quarterbacks that are great are bigger than life. If you go look at NFL advertisements, what are the names that are splashed all over them? The quarterbacks. It's the Bradys and the Rodgers and the Wilsons that have their faces shown on TV. So, of course, they develop a bit of a diva attitude. Sure. I am not going to argue that no quarterbacks are divas. What I am going to argue is that we should not take a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who is saying this situation's garbage. Let's talk about Russell Wilson. I agree with you, Zoe, that Russell Wilson's a diva. He has turned into a diva for the past couple of years. And you know, there are some people that blame his wife, Sierra. There are others who just blame his station. Look, I think the guy, for whatever reason, has become a bit of a diva. But his complaints about the Seattle Seahawks organization are valid. he's not wrong. Pete Carroll's coaching style has cost the Seahawks some big-time situations, including a Super Bowl win over Tom Brady a few years back. He is not wrong. The difference between quarterbacks have, let's go with, I agree with you. Quarterbacks have always been divas. Spot on. I'm good with that. The difference between now and in the past that has guys like Ron Wolf from days of yon gone, the thing that has him upset is that not only are quarterbacks vocal when their team has let down their obligation, which has happened in the Rodgers case, in the Wilson's case, etc., but on top of all of that, they have decided for the first time in NFL history to be vocal about it. They don't just shut their mouths, put on their helmet, and play football. They go, wait. I am playing at NFL MVP level. You are drafting my replacement instead of a wide receiver. I am playing NFL MVP level. You are drafting defensive linemen in the first round instead of a tight end or a wide receiver that we could desperately use. And he's being vocal. And I think as far as a guy like Ron Wolf, and I think a lot of old GMs and personnel guys, they're not used to the team being questioned because you never questioned the team, especially as a player, right? As a player in days gone past, you didn't question the team. You shut up, you snapped on the chin strap, you got out there and you took your lumps. You never questioned the team. And now the teams and the owners are being put, and the GMs are being put in the spotlight, and Ron Wolf doesn't like it. That's the only thing that's got him upset. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a moment, I want your thoughts on that topic of conversation. I got a few texts that we will run through in just a minute. Plus, something happened in Major League Soccer, fan-driven, that I don't think would or could happen in any other major sport, and I think you'll like it. That's coming up in just a few minutes on The Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
Listen on your Amazon or Google.
Lonzo with the spicy QBs have always been Divas take.
1 minute.
1 minute.
Prisma in the next break.
Prisma. Oh, I have to repeat everything you say back to me in a funny accent. It just seems right.
Call 844-GSP-ESPN.
Text keyword ESPN and your message to 71307. Get in the game on the Rob Brown Show. Only on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob. He is Lonzo. A couple of texts that have come in on that last segment and others at ESPN. Haven't heard much about that Tater baseball team. How are they doing? ? Ooh, the shots are flying today. At ESPN, Jordan Stahl's first goal last night was a thing of beauty. I can't stop watching it. Absolutely gorgeous goal as Carolina gets the big win over Nashville in game number 1. They hold a 1-0 lead in the divisional playoff round 1 over the number 4 seeded Nashville Predators. At ESPN, South Carolina, fake news. They never sell out. Pro tip, just wait until a few months till they lower it to buy one, get one free, and then you are set. Wow, coming out of the blocks today, y'all.
Speaking of fake news, that text, fake news, for sure.
At ESPN, Trent Dilfer with the Ravens was the only other QB outside the top 5 in recent memory to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, good call on that. Good call on that one, and he was carried by one of the most prolific defenses in the history of the game. At ESPN, except the difference is when they cut a player, they still get paid because you know that thing called a contract. Players should be forced to give back their signing bonus. Look, man, when players get cut, they still get a deal of their contract, no doubt about it. But a bonus is a bonus, man. And a team, once that bonus is done, that bonus is done. Right? Like once Aaron Rodgers signs that contract, you get the bonus for signing the contract, not fulfilling it, signing it.
Yeah, if you get a bonus at your job, whatever profession you're in, and you end up losing that job, should you have to give your bonus back?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think so.
I always find this conversation amusing, Lonzo, because it feels like, and maybe I'm misreading it, but I don't think I am. It just feels like the majority of NFL fans side with the owners over the players traditionally. And I think that's exactly what I'm trying to point out is that historically speaking, most of the time in NFL years past, the players were not the priority, right? With the fans and with the players. It was the team is always first. And I understand there are some people that think that translates on the field. Look, Aaron Rodgers didn't just suddenly become unhappy with Green Bay. He's been unhappy with Green Bay for a while. Zoe, would you argue that Aaron Rodgers didn't give everything he had to give on the football field last year?
I would argue he absolutely did for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much more he could have done.
Yeah, this whole premise that guys aren't going to give you all they got. Because
maybe if his coach would have called the right play or something.
It probably wouldn't have. It probably would not have hurt the chances. I will not disagree with that. There's like this attitude that guys aren't going to give everything they have to give out on the field because they're unhappy with their situation, and I don't think that's how it works. To be honest with you, I don't get the same impression for the most part. I think Aaron Rodgers gave everything that Aaron Rodgers had to give last year. I don't think there's much more he could have given. He won the MVP award, but then everybody's like, "Oh, how dare he? How dare he be unhappy with the organization in question?" I got a lot of reasons. He should and is unhappy with the Green Bay Packers, and I don't think that they are bad reasons at all. I don't. 844-GSP-ESPN, you guys are welcome to chime in on this topic or any topic that you wish to discuss. Now, is your opportunity to make that happen. Text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. 71307 is the number. And of course, you can get at us on the Twitter at the Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo and Ward, at ESPN Upstate. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, we are going to talk about something that has happened in the MLS that I don't think would happen in any other major American sport, and it was fan-driven, which I think you'll like. That's next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Prisma.
The Rob Brown Show.
Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker.
Just say play ESPN Upstate.
Prisma Health, the official healthcare provider of both the Gamecocks and the Tigers, ladies and gentlemen. That is correct. Both Clemson and South Carolina utilize the same health services provider. And if they are good enough for the Gamecocks and the Tigers to come together and agree on something, don't you think that they will come together to provide you and your family with the health care that you want, need, and are looking for? I'll bet you they can. I'll bet you they can. And on top of all of that, they make it simple and easy for you as well. Go to their their website at prismahealth.org. You go to prismahealth.org. You are going to see everything laid out for you. Nice, easy, simple, convenient, streamlined. Their My Chart is kept up to date with your medical history as it evolves, so that you and your doctor can both make sure that you have the most recent, up-to-date, and important healthcare information about you that is available right there at their fingertips. You can also book yourself a virtual visit, a regular visit, at any of the numerous convenient locations they have around the Midlands and the Upstate, and it is only from the folks at Prisma Health. Again, check them out online at prismahealth.org, prismahealth.org, and learn how Prisma can be the official healthcare provider for you and your family as well. It's our friends at Prisma Health right here in the Upstate. Bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da. You look fine, only a little creepy.
Working on my stage fright look.
Are there multiple situations where you feel like you need a stage fright look?
Oh, when there's genuine stage fright, you'll know. 1 minute.
So he says, email Rob Brown at ESPNUpstate.com and we'll put him to the test. This is the Rob Brown Show, local sports talk on ESPN Upstate.
So, Columbus SC did something yesterday that I found very, very interesting. Earlier, I guess to say late last week, Columbus Crew, as they were formerly known, changed their name, rebranded to Columbus. They became Columbus SC. And the Columbus SC logo that they released was bad. It was bad. It was not good. It was just basically a block letter C with the bottom bent up, and they put it inside of kind of a badge-looking thing. It was pretty atrocious. It was pretty atrocious as far as a badge and a logo for the team goes. Well, the Columbus SC supporters group spoke out about their displeasure with the rebrand of a two-time MLS championship winning side. Not thrilled, not happy about it. And they let the team know, like en masse, they let the team know. Well, last night, members of the Columbus SC organization, from the president through the GM down, met with the leadership of multiple supporters groups from around the Columbus area and announced that after a lot of feedback from fans that they would be yet doing another rebrand that included adding the Crew moniker, so they will go back to being the Columbus Crew, and all of their logos will be redesigned with massive fan input. I, Lonzo, think that is super cool. I think it was a bad redesign for the beginning. I think it was one of those situations where they paid somebody way too much to do too little work to come up with a bland, boring logo that was not representative of the club. I think it's very cool that they listen to the fans, listen to the supporters, are taking their consideration and their advice under wing, and are making moves on it. This would not happen in the NFL, i.e. the Washington football team, a team that when they announced the rebrand and decided to hold off and go Washington football team, there was enormous kickback from fans who hated the name, hated the idea, hated the way it was pulled back together. Zoe, I don't know about you, man. I think that is one of those reasons that I try to get people to understand why soccer is such a cool sport. There is not another sport in America at a professional level that would let the fans have that much in the way of input towards what the team literally looks like on the field of play.
I mean, that's all well and good. And that's, the home of my birth, Columbus, Ohio. So, and the Crew started right after I left, I believe, or somewhere around that time. Coincidence, of course. What's Charlotte's team name?
Charlotte SC.
And it seems to me that was praised. And it seems like there's a lot of trend of these new teams going with soccer club. And will this stop this from happening now? The fact that one team has spoken out, and I completely agree with them. They've won a championship a couple of times. You know, you're saying that championship gear, you can't wear it anymore because it has the old logo on it and things like that. It's just, some things need to be left alone. Some things need to not be changed, and that would be one of them. And it's pretty cool that the owners listened to the fans and changed it back to where it needed to be.
The issue wasn't with the SC, right? It's one thing to have a new team. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a bunch of us that, look, Charlotte, I do,
generic. It's
Charlotte,
generic.
Yeah, I wish Charlotte would have come up with something a little more creative, a little more, but again, the traditional way of naming sports teams in America, which is to give them a mascot, it's not obligated to be that way. It's not obligated to be that way. So I don't mind the new tradition. The problem was in changing the name from what was successful, right? As the Crew, they put 2 stars on the crest as the Crew, 2 of them. And then they just changed the name around for no really good reason at all. I don't have an issue with just going Columbus SC if that's the name from the beginning. Charlotte FC is fine with me from the beginning. The issue is getting rid of the success and not listening to your fans at all. MLS teams have done that. Soccer teams have done that. They listen to you as a fan, have as much voice as the owner of the team in many cases. How is that not attractive to you as a sports fan? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
ESPN Upstate, WIRD.
Oops.
Yeah, I saw that too. I looked down. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's my fault.
I'm not super worried about it.
I am.
I know.
We do have a little of room because of not having something tied into the top. So we're fine.
Okay, perfect. Works out well.
Warning.
And check this out.
You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Yeah.
Only on ESPN.
ESPN Upstate.
Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Welcome. The money out. Let's go now. I am Rob Brown. Back to the network studio. Text line 71307. Texter says, anyone else really confused trying to find Columbus SC? Yeah, that would be soccer club, not South Carolina. Yeah, Columbus SC is in soccer club. At ESPN, are the Triumph going to rebrand to Greenville SC? I'm willing to wager no. I'm willing to. See, that's the thing. I don't have an issue with just naming the club SC or FC or United or City or whatever you want to go with. In fact, for a while, I really thought that they were going to go with Charlotte City or Queen City. Queen City would have been a great name for that team, but they went with Charlotte FC out of the Queen City, which is fine. It wasn't an issue about Columbus's name. It was an issue of changing the name after the fans had invested in the Columbus brand for however many ridiculous number of years they have been talented. That was what got fans upset. The story, however, was less about the rebrand and more, as I've pointed out, about the fact as I continue to do my best to win soccer fans over here in the upstate as it continues to grow. The concept for the rebrand is more along the lines of the fact that here you have a professional soccer club, which we have watched questionable branding out of professional soccer clubs for many years, and many professional sports basically be deaf to what their fans are looking for, asking for, etc. And here's a soccer club that, without much pushing and prodding, basically listened to the fans who said, look, we have an issue with this, that, and the other. We don't like what you did. We want it changed back, and said, good with us, man. Good with us. We accept your critique. We accept your advice. We understand that this was a mistake, and we are going to go back to doing things the way they should be done. So, like I said, the point of that was less about the rebrand and more, hey, I think it's pretty damn cool that you have a professional soccer organization, a professional sports club in the United States that went to the fans and said, okay, your voice matters. Your opinion matters. We care about these things and the things that you care about, to the point that we just launched this huge rebrand and we know there's backlash. So we're going to go back to what you guys like and what you wanted. Lonzo, that's not happening in the NFL. That's not happening in Major League Baseball. That's not happening in the NBA. That's only happening in soccer, which to me is pretty damn impressive if we're being honest with each other. At least it would be to me if I wasn't a fan and I saw it happen. That would win me over like big time.
No, it is cool. But at the same time, you got to wonder, they have focus groups. They have all these feelers, usually teams like this do, before they make a change. Who was telling them this was a good idea?
That is a wonderful question. I was looking the other day. I had a laugh the other day, Lonzo, because there was this corporate brand that put out this. They had this big thing about how they were doing a redesign of their logo, right? Their app logo and their logo, and everybody, all the people at the corporate office were so excited. And they said, we spent $30,000 and hours of research on this brand redesign. $30,000 and hours of research to get the right brand that represents you, our customers. And after $30,000 and hours of research, Lonzo, I can't make this up because if I was in the corporate world, I'd have had an actual stroke. They took the logo, which was a square logo with red, and then it had their letters inside, which I want to say were like IN or IG or something. Anyway, after $30,000 and hours of research, Lonzo, they made the squared logo rounded on the corners, and they changed the font of the IN in the middle from a cursive font to 2 capital block letters. 30 grand, hours of research. They rounded off the corners and they changed the font of the 2 letters. And that the color stayed the same. The style stayed the same. The size stayed the same. They rounded the corners and they made the logo change fonts. $30K and hours of research for this company. And it was like, they didn't even get a backlash of, we as your customers hate this rebrand. They had a backlash of, we are not investing in a company that spent 30 grand to change a font, right?
And whoever they hired to do this, probably at that place was like, hey man, watch this. I'm just going to do this. Watch them buy it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're just going to round off the corners and change the letters. Let's see what they do.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I'm thinking at this point, maybe I should have got into graphic design and consultation work, man.
Still do that on the side.
True story. If anybody would like me to change the font on your logo for 30 grand, I'm your dude, man. Corporate accounts here in the area, if you would like a new logo without high expectations, holla at your boy. Because I have a rudimentary knowledge of Photoshop and will be happy to change the font in your logo for 30 grand. All right? Be happy to do it. Listen, you are going to have situations where your front office folks are going to mess up. And Columbus did that. It happens. The Dolphins logo, when the Dolphins changed their logo a couple of years ago, they went from the old classic Ace Ventura snowflake wearing a helmet logo to the new alien multicolored dolphin flying into the sun logo, right? And the fans hated it. The fans in Florida and Miami hated the logo redesign, despised the logo redesign, voiced their displeasure with the redesign. For the most part at the time, quit buying merch with the new logo on it. The Seminoles of Florida State, remember a couple of years ago, they went from the old classic Chief Osceola. They allowed Nike to do a full rebrand, and now they have the new Chief Osceola, or as the folks in Tallahassee have called him, Chief Walmart. They don't like it. Hey, Lonzo, quick quiz. What logo are the Miami Dolphins using, and what logo are the Seminoles of Florida State using right now?
I'm going to go out and guess that they went back to the old logos.
Incorrect.
No.
Both of them said, we don't give a good gosh darn.
By the way, I just wanted to throw out that I am not a fan of Florida State or Miami. So, that's why I didn't know.
Yeah. And Miami is still rocking the new logo. Florida State is still rocking the new logo. And they basically said, you know what? You're going to take the new alien sun dolphin and you're going to like it. You're going to take the new I just stubbed my toe on a Lego Chief Osceola and you're going to like it. And they stuck with it. And now that's the logo that the fans rock, right? It's every bit reasonable to have expected that Columbus SC would have gone, hey, sorry you're disappointed. Sorry you don't like it. Sorry it's not your style. But we paid a lot of money and the merch is already ordered. So that's what we're rolling with now. Sorry to bust the bubble, but they didn't. They said, all right, well, the fans don't like it. They're the ones that got to buy the merch. They're the ones that got to buy the T-shirts and the tickets and all that. So maybe we'll take a second look. And they went back and they changed it up and the fans were thrilled about it. I'm not saying that they were right or wrong for doing it. And I'm not saying the Dolphins or the Knowles were right or wrong for not changing their logo back after the fan backlash. I'm saying it is commendable. It is commendable that Columbus SC decided to listen and change the logo back. And I am pointing out for those of you that have said soccer's dumb, that there is more fan control over how leagues work. Look at what happened with the Super League, right? The Super League fan backlash a couple of weeks ago, They were creating a European Super League with some of the best players or some of the best teams in Europe. And the idea for this was being pushed by a bunch of billionaires around America and around Europe. And the fans had such a backlash that the Super League got called off in a matter of days. Like 3 days later, half of the Super League proposed teams bailed. There are only 3 or 4 that are left in discussion to still join the Super League. There is no sport at that level that allows the fans to have more control than football. And I think it's great. I think it's great. I think this is a story that if you are an NFL fan or a NBA fan or a baseball fan, you ought to be envious of. And if you are not a soccer person, recognize that your voice is heard louder in that sport than maybe any other professional sport. 844-477-3776, 844-GSP-ESPN. You can text us on the Ingles Market text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. Tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word. We want your thoughts. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a moment from right now, a spin around last night's NHL Stanley Cup Playoff scoreboard, a study of how Major League Baseball's newly designed baseball is impacting the game. We look at the numbers. All that more coming up next on The Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown.
What a great headline, Lonzo. What a great headline.
You look up, you see something like that. It's like, what?
I appreciate that. You know how much I appreciate that headline. And let's be honest, if you bought that, you deserve it.
I'm not even going to, I don't even want to open up the thing. I mean, because the headline says it, a lot of times it's clickbait and you click on it and find out. I want to let my imagination go.
I'll do the research.
Okay. All right, I did open up the article, and just the paragraph where it starts, "A man who says," that's just an awesome paragraph.
See, here's the thing: that dude for the rest of his life is going to be known by all of his bro friends as the dude who intentionally bought a candle that smells like Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina. For those of you who don't know what Zoe and I are reading right now, there's a class action lawsuit that's been filed against Goop, which is Gwyneth Paltrow's company. And the lawsuit alleges that he bought one of the candles scented like her reproductive organ. And after burning it for 3 hours, it exploded on his nightstand in a ball of flames. And so he's suing them for a lot of money. The company's like, oh, no, we tested these. And apparently there's a warning on the candle to not burn it for more than 2 hours at a time. So he's going to lose the lawsuit. I just love that this dude for the rest of his life has to live with the rest of his bros as the dude who was so desperate for female attention that he bought a candle that smelled like female attention. I'm sure whatever you're saying is insightful, but we can't hear it.
Unless he wins his lawsuit because he's seeking damages exceeding $5 million. So if he wins this lawsuit, his boys ain't saying nothing to him except for, hey, man, can I get a loan? So the warning, if the warning says don't burn it for more than 2 hours at a time, does it say if you do, it will explode?
It will now.
I mean, what's the rest of the warning? I mean, do not. I mean, usually you have a reason why you can't burn it for more than 2 hours. That makes it sound like they knew it would explode.
Imagine what that dude's bedroom is going to smell like for like weeks now.
And there are so many jokes, but I'm not going there.
No.
I mean, I remember when it came out, the big stink of it when it came out. But I didn't think anyone actually bought that. Now we know someone did.
I guarantee you there are some people that have bought that and weirder things from her. She also sold these little metal balls that ladies were supposed to
Yeah, you can stop.
and apparently sold like a lot of them. Yeah, you can stop.
I'm just picturing this candle being sold on QVC and how the women on QVC are, talking up the product.
Right.
There's a parody that we should but will not do.
There's a parody that you absolutely should and definitely should do.
Oh, no. I don't think it fits the format. That's what I'm going with. It doesn't fit this format.
Lisa said enough.
I might pitch it to the Rise guys, though. It would fit over there.
Miss Lisa, I have to tell you, my producer is encouraging me. You may blame him. I didn't even know this was a story till he sent it to me.
Well, I'm researching, trying to find some more Twitter trending topics, and then
That's a good one.
that just popped up on my feed. It's not even necessarily trending. It's just when I see TMZ, I look because it's like, okay, what breaking news is going on right now? And $20 seconds.
Opinions wanted.
Well, opinions are like say everybody has one.
Call 844-GSP-ESPN. Local sports talk on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Ingles Market text line, lighten up, 71307. Start your text with ESPN so that we can read it on the air. Here's a couple that have come in over the past few minutes. We got this one, 71307. ESPN, in light of fans having a voice, can we rename your show Dukes and the Boys? No. I am a fan of Dukes Mayo. You are not renaming my show after it. At ESPN, do you think an all-women's wrestling program can compete today with shows like WWE, AEW, and NXT? It was a show back in the day called Glow, if I can remember correctly. Glow was on Netflix. And was a very popular show.
Well, Glow was actually talking about the actual wrestling organization that existed back in the 70s. I believe it was the 70s that I actually watched as a kid.
I did not. So Glow was based on loosely based on a relatively true story.
Yes. So to speak. Yeah. That organization actually existed.
Didn't know that. Kind of cool. I love the show. It was a great show. I think they're working on a movie for it, if I recall correctly. So I'm in for that. It seems cool. Do I think an all-women's wrestling company could compete? Not yet. A couple more years, you keep getting people like Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. You keep getting the Rhea Ripleys and the Charlotte Flairs who keep pushing it forward. and I think there is a chance that down the line it could compete. But I don't think it's there yet. I could be wrong, but I don't think that it is there yet. At ESPN, I agree that it is cool that fans had input, as most small market sports offer. Real sports like the NFL, MLB, and basketball don't do that, as they are not seeking fan approval as much. Their fans automatically come to their team. Listen, I don't disagree with you. I will disagree on the real sports stance, right? Like, obviously, I'm going to the MLS is growing. No, soccer is not a top-tier American sport, and I'm not arguing that it is.
I'm glad you clarified, because you're about to get one of these. Rob Brown, breaking news, Rob Brown says that soccer is not a real sport.
I didn't say that. I said it is not a top-tier American sport, ... yet. It is not yet. I think it's on its way to becoming one. I do. I think, and then I think you are seeing the growth and evolution of soccer in this country. I think it is a youth movement. I think as the for lack of a better word, stigma against soccer continues to basically die out with the last generation of sports fans. And as you see more Christian Pulisic's and Weston McKennie's start to not just become American sports stars, but international stars, I think you'll see it grow, right? And I would point to, for instance, the NBA and basketball in other parts of the world. Throughout the 90s, basketball was an American product. And as the LeBron James of the world have spread around, and as other countries have started to develop the Tony Parkers and the Yao Mings and the Manu Ginobilis that show up and become studs as well, all of a sudden, international basketball infinitely more competitive, and countries like Russia and China and France are propping up these leagues that are really competitive and have some really good players. I think Australia's league has grown exponentially over the years. Australia is likely going to have a lottery pick in next year's draft. If not a lottery pick, then one, maybe two first rounders. And I think you're seeing the inverse of that happen with soccer, as, like I said, the stigma kind of starts to die off over the years. So, I think it's on the way, and I think moves like this will convince people. If you are living in Columbus, Ohio, right? You're living in Columbus, and you've got an MLS team with your name on it, the Columbus SC, soon to be back to being the Columbus Crew, and you have got a team that is willing to make that move for you. And look, I understand that you want to say, oh, it's, the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, top tier sports wouldn't do that in America. I agree that they wouldn't do that in America now. But I look across the pond, and I look to England and France and Italy, where these what were they calling the European Super League teams were based out of. And you had Manchester United, Manchester City, and Chelsea, and Liverpool, and these other sides that are the NFL of Europe. They are the NFL. The Premier League is the biggest and most widely recognized league in all the world. And you have La Liga, and you have these Serie A, you have all these other leagues. And the billionaire owners of these teams worked under that assumption, right? Yeah, they might not like it, but if we join the Super League, the fans will still show up. The fans will still be there. And there was such an outrage from the fans that billionaires decided, you know what? Not a great idea. Maybe we should listen to the supporters. It happened there. It's on the road here. And I think there's something to be said for that. All right, when we come back, I want to talk baseball for just a second. Baseball introduced a new design of, actual baseballs to be used in MLB this year. And there was, speaking of fan backlash, a fan backlash against that. But let's look at the numbers. We are a quarter of the way through the MLB season, so we've got a decent sample size of what the baseball has done to impact the game. Was it a good idea or not? And what changes should Major League Baseball be looking at next? I'll tell you coming up in the next segment. Rob Lonzo, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say, play ESPN Upstate. From the Ingles Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate.
On my television is the 1990 matchup of the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, featuring Craig Ironhead Hayward, Morton the Great Dane Anderson,
Loved Ironhead. Dude was awesome.
5 years old when this game was played. I am now 36 and hate myself.
You said it was 1990?
Yep.
I would have been 22.
I was going to say Zoe was already in college and I was watching cartoons on Saturday mornings, but then I realized so was Zoe probably.
At that point, I was probably working in a grocery store going, is this it? Is this what I'm doing? I don't know. Now I'm here going, is this it? Is this what I'm doing? I don't know. You think Griff Jenkins' name is really Griff Jenkins? I'm going to have to look that up.
Griff Jenkins.
So you don't even know who it is, do you? One half of the Varsity Blondes.
Oh.
Call yourself an AEW fan and not know the Griff?
Text us anytime at 71307. Use keyword ESPN followed by your comment. Local sports talk on The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. So Major League Baseball this season introduced a new baseball, a new design of the actual ball. So how is it impacting the game, and has it changed the fan experience of the game? Well, we are a quarter of the way through the season, so we've got a pretty good sample size at this point. The news about the tweaks to the ball emerged in the form of a leaked memo obtained by The Athletic. And MLB guaranteed that scrutiny on baseballs would be a major aspect of the 2021 season. And the memo had a lot of physics in it. It talked about the ways that, the seams would change and the way the ball would fly. Basically, it boiled down to the ball would be just a little bit lighter, 2.8 grams lighter, and would fly a little less effectively. They assumed that it would decrease the distance of an average hit by around 1 to 2 feet for most hits, which sounded simple, maybe even a little unobtrusive. It seemed like it wouldn't be the biggest deal in the world, but how has it changed? Well, the primary goal of the changes was to make the performance of the ball more consistent from batch to batch and season to season, which makes sense if the revised specifications led to a more balanced product down the road. So what have we learned so far? What are the numbers telling us through the baseball season thus far? And is it changing the way that we watch baseball? Well, when you talk about the performance of the ball, usually the first thing that we monitor is the number of home runs. And the 5 highest rates of home runs per 9 innings have been the last 5 seasons, which is one of the reasons that Major League Baseball decided to inject a baseball that's a little lighter, has a little higher stitches on it, and would fly a little less far when spanked. Well, how's it going so far this year? Through this past weekend, baseball's rate of home runs per innings has settled at 1.16, which is fewer than last year and even even smaller than the record season of 2019. It's still early in the spring. It's still cold. Colder than it will be over the next couple of months. We know that baseballs in the cold don't fly as far when baseball fields around the country warm up. We may see that number go up just a little bit. Some experts say that they expect it to go up between 5 and 10% over the course of the season. If we were to go up, say 10%, that means the home run per 9 innings rate would end up around 1.26 home runs per inning, which is still lower than it has been in the past 2 years, but it would still figure to be potentially within the top 3 seasons of all time. Question would be, should we shave a little bit more off of the baseball? Should we shave a little bit more off of the baseball? Well, how about the actual contact of the ball? Has it changed the way that the pitches look? Has it changed the way that baseball players are able to get barrel on baseball? Well, so far this season, teams have produced an aggregate rate of barrels per batted ball. That's a ball that is hit solidly on the barrel of the bat from up to 8.2%. They were at 7.6% last season. Now, that is a number that has gone up annually over the past decade, with I think only 1 year worth of exceptions. So the fact is, batters are still getting solid contact with the baseball. Home runs are falling a little bit this year. Now, again, that number may rise once it gets a little warmer. The balls are a little warmer before they're put into play. That might change things up. Remember, we've had a couple of games in the snow so far this season. We've had a couple of games where game time temperatures were in the 40s, whereas in 2 months from now, most average baseball game temperatures are going to be in the 70s. In some places like Texas and Arizona, they're going to be up in the upper 80s, maybe low 90s, maybe higher for some games. All of this is roughly what Major League Baseball has said would happen with the new ball. We have seen an increase in the frequency of batters getting full contact on the barrel, but a decrease in the rate of homers so far. 49% of barrel balls have left the yard, down from 56.1% in 2020 and 59% in 2018. Now, again, that number will continue to evolve, but assuming that evolves at the same rate in years past, ESPN stats and info project that number will be around 53% of the season. That is to say, if barrel contact is made on a baseball, there will be a slightly better than 50% chance that it will leave the yard. So baseball did what they said they were going to do, Lonzo. They decreased the number of home runs that are taking place per 9 innings. They have increased the number of balls that are being put into play in ways that are not home runs, and they have changed the way that guys were pitching the baseball. They are having to be more accurate. They are having to have more control because the rate of contact remains there if ball's not leaving the yard at as high of a rate as they had in the past. And I think ultimately, Lonzo, this is a good thing. I think baseball is better off to have more balls in play that are not home runs, right? I think this age of home run or K is not great for the sport. It kind of takes away from the fun of it. It kind of takes away from the aspect of the game. I want double plays. I want guys having to decide as they turn second and head for third. I want base coaches to have to decide if they're going to send a guy or not because they don't necessarily know that ball out to the track is going to make it to the fence or not. I like this. I think this is good. And then I couple it with some of the other experiments that are going on in the world of baseball right now. There are some minor leagues that are moving the pitcher's mound back between a foot to 24 inches. It's obviously going to increase the distance between the pitcher and the dish. It is going to increase the amount of time that the ball is in the air from the time that it leaves the pitcher's hand to the time that it crosses the dish. It is going to give batters an extra, let's say, 1/10 to 2/10 of a second to decide if they are going to swing, if they want to swing or not. I think baseball coming up with ways to bring back the era of strategic hitting with runners in scoring position. I think that time is now. I don't think it is good for baseball to have a home run or strikeout mentality. I don't applaud Rob Manfred very often, but I applaud them for making this move with the baseball, changing the way the game is actually structurally worked at a fundamental level, at a physics level, with the way the ball is pitched, the way the ball is hit, the numbers that are resulting. I think it's good for baseball if we create more contact, but decrease the number of contacts that result in a guy tagging all four.
I know when this was proposed, I thought it was kind of weird that they were trying to, it's like they almost wanted to stop scoring. And, most people watch something like this because they want to see home runs or they want to see touchdowns or whatever it is for the sport. But how much of a drop did you say it was? Because it's really not that much of a drop. And I wonder if they thought it would be more than what it is.
Yeah, the home run rate right now is sitting at about, 15%, about a 15. But again, like I said, it's early in the season. That number may catch up later on in the year. I think it's about what they expected, right? The home run rate has gone from like 1.26 last year to 1.16 this year. And it likely will kind of level out somewhere in the middle down the line. So it's not like you're seeing, we still want home runs, right? Like I was at the Braves game a week and a half ago when Pablo Sandoval hit the home run in the bottom of the ninth that tied the whole thing up and sent that game to extra innings. We want still home runs. We want the fireworks. We want the big bats. But I think it gets a little boring, though, when it's like every dude at the dish is either going to get a home run or he's going to strike out or just hit a little dribbler out to first base. Give me guys having to play defense. Give me third basemen and shortstops having to dive to try to cover up the alleys. Give me right fielders and left fielders having to get on the sprint because that ball that was a home run 2 years ago may die out at the warning track, and they got to decide, okay, do I lay out for this and realize that I might hit the track? Do I let it bounce and try to play it off the wall? The strategic defense and strategic offense. How do you approach an at-bat when there's 2 outs and a guy on second? How do you approach? Do you have a leadoff guy lay down a drag bunt when there's a runner on second and just 1 out? The strategic offense has really gone away the past couple of years, Lonzo, and to add that back into baseball, I think will make it more entertaining from top to bottom. I'm for it. I think baseball did a good job here.
Well, it seems like every time that there's equipment change to do something like this, that eventually the players catch up. is this something that the players won't be able to adjust and fix because it's always bigger, faster, stronger. Eventually someone's going to get in there and this is not going to deter them from hitting a home run as much as they usually do.
Good question. Maybe they do. Maybe they do catch up. For now, they haven't. For now, it's good. I mean, I don't know how far you can take these changes. Can the ball be too light? Can the ball?
But I do agree the fact that outfielders actually have to play the outfield now. That probably is a good thing. Yeah. That's what they're getting paid to do, not to watch balls go over their head.
Yeah, I want first baseman and third baseman to have to worry about covering the line and covering the alley. I want right fielders and left fielders having to communicate about who's shading over in which direction and why. I have no issue with the shift. I know a lot of people, a lot of older baseball fans specifically, hate the shift. I don't know. Look, if they put you in the shift and they put 3 infielders to the right side, it behooves you to learn how to get the bat around a little faster and put it down the left side where there's nobody at, right? That's just defense. But to include that more to where guys are having to be strategic with every at-bat as opposed to only the ones that there aren't a home run hitter at the dish, I think is good for baseball. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute from right now, everybody's favorite game to wrap it up. It's Twitter trending topics. Zoe tells me what's trending on Twitter. I give you 30 to 45 seconds about what I know about it. If I don't know anything, I make it up, just like most of my career. That's next on The Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen.
Joe Burrow will reportedly be ready for play when the Bengals open the 2021 season. How about my dude? I know, Josh, we're trying to grow the show, Bubba. We're trying to get the folks in here. Let them know. Let them know what we got going on every afternoon, man. We try to make it fun. I know it can be it can get a little dull between segments sometimes, but we try to have fun in here to make it worth taking a few minutes to come hang out with us. I appreciate you hanging out every day, Josh. It means a lot to me, man. I mean that. I got that. I need to get you that picture I took at your station before the match on Sunday. I got to. I'm gonna upload all my pictures from the weekend, either today or tomorrow afternoon, and I'll get you set up, bud. I'll get you set up for sure. I think that one, if I remember, that one came out really good. You broke you broke the flag, or you broke the flag pole, Josh? I hope just the pole, which is a PVC pipe, so you should be just fine.
Starting to look like it might be going to rain here pretty soon.
Yeah, I thought we were going to make it through like a week and a half without rain, but clearly that is incorrect.
One minute. It is time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I will tell Rob what is trending on the internets, and he will regale us with what he knows about said things, starting with Shrek.
That is not what I wanted to start with, but it's important anyway. The Guardian has put out an article, and the Guardian is just garbage, man. The Garbagedian is what it should be called. Hashtag nailed it. They have put out an article, and Zoe, I'm going to shift over to your side for just a few minutes. They have put out an article that has been shared millions of times on social media.
Took me a second to get that.
That the 20-year-old animated classic Shrek, yes, 20 years old now, is, quote, problematic, end quote, and that we should do away with it. Shrek should be no more because it is problematic and plays into stereotypes and yada, yada, yada. And listen, I think we get a little carried away with the premise of, cancel culture. I think we get a little carried away when things have consequences, and if you don't like the consequences, you call it cancel culture. But if you come for Shrek and Donkey, you've gone too far. You've gone down the rabbit. You're seeing Alice. You're so far down the rabbit hole leave Shrek alone. Shrek didn't do nothing to you. All right? Shrek's awesome. It's a great movie. It remains a classic. You leave Mike Myers' greatest work alone. All right?
Well, if you are an ogre and you feel like you've been misrepresented, I totally get that. I'm willing to hear your story. But I don't know any ogres. So, yeah, I know that the most controversial thing about Shrek to me was I didn't want to let my kids watch it. And here's the reason why, because the villain has a certain kind of a name that if it's mispronounced could be problematic. And if it's mispronounced, that could be bad. And then you have to punish the child for saying something that they shouldn't be saying. And yes, it was done that way on purpose. I get that. But
the thing that's beautiful about Shrek is I can sit there and watch it with my 3-year-old nephew, and both of us will laugh at it for far different yet equally hilarious reasons.
And I could also come at Shrek and say that that it's sensationalizing belching and making it sound like it's an acceptable thing when it's obviously bad manners.
And the rest of us go, we still have the humor of an 8-year-old, and that's hilarious. All right, this is what it is.
All I'm saying is you can nitpick on anything.
Yeah,
but
there are a lot of things I'm down with being canceled. Shrek is not on that list.
All right. You want me to go somewhere, but not yet. Charles Grodin is.
I have no idea why Charles Grodin is trending, but basically, I'm assuming because it's Twitter that he died.
Yes, he died at the age of 86. So that's not bad, man.
Charles Grodin was in what? He was in Spinal Tap. He was
in a lot of stuff.
He was in Blazing Saddles. He was in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and of course, he was in one of the greatest franchises ever, Midnight Run. Had Charles Grodin in it.
And my favorite was him on So I Married an Axe Murderer. Speaking of Mike Myers, no, I don't. When he was trying to commandeer his car.
Spinal Tap is still one of the greatest things ever put to film. If you haven't seen Spinal Tap, go watch it. It's incredible.
I lived my very own Spinal Tap because we went through like 25 drummers in our band.
Any of it spontaneously?
No, we didn't reach that far. But every time we lost another one, I'd have to go with the Spinal Tap reference. All right.
Can we do it now?
Sure. The next thing trending is Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay, so Gwyneth Weirdo Paltrow on her website Goop, which sells.
Wait. I had to do that because this is breaking news that Mark Ryan needs to pay attention because he'll be loving this story the entire day. Go ahead.
This one's for you, buddy.
This will give you an excuse to say a word that I wouldn't let you say.
So, Gwyneth Paltrow on her website Goop sells faux scientific garbage to bored housewives who have too much money. All right? And not terribly long ago, she introduced a candle that smelled like her, lady parts. All right? Well, there is a man in Texas who lit one of these candles, purchased with good American money intentionally.
Allegedly. I mean, we don't know for sure if he used American money. Yeah.
That smells like Gwyneth Paltrow's lady parts. Well, he lit that candle on fire, and in a $3+ million class action lawsuit against Goop, claims that the candle exploded in his bedroom and nearly caught his house on fire. And of course, the repercussions of that are now his bedroom is going to smell like Gwyneth Paltrow's lady parts for the better part of ever. The best part of this story for me, Lonzo, forget the lawsuit. The best part of this story for me is that this guy in Texas has a group of dude friends he hangs out with. And now, courtesy of this lawsuit he filed, he will forever and always be known as the bro who needed female attention so desperately that he bought a vajayjay scented candle of Gwyneth Paltrow's.
Please text us now with your comments about this story. Feel free to be as graphic as you possibly can. We want all your texts. 71307. Please start with ESPN.
Yes. Please send all your texts about Gwyneth Paltrow's lady reproductive organ candles to the next show, and let's see how the very mature Diesel handles them. All right? That's it for the show. Thanks for hanging out. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face for Lonzo. I'm Rob. Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again on The Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Later. See you on the stream next time. Appreciate it as always. Adios.